Hi, everybody. So excited for our live today. Yay! I'm so excited to bring on my very good friend Bianca Lua, who we've been living down the street from each other forever, probably since kindergarten, since first grade when I moved into the neighborhood. But yes, so excited to have her join us. Oh, there she is. All right, we'll just give her a second to join, and then we'll get to it. Hi, Bianca.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. How has your quarantine been? Have you been more productive, kind of like hanging out?
I've definitely been relaxing a lot. And just enjoying time off, like a little bit break from life.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
I definitely get that. Well, I'm so excited to have you on today because I was like, who's the first person that I can think of? And I was like, Bianca, because we grew up in the same place, and we started at the same exact time with art. So I was wondering, like, maybe do you just want to share a little bit about like the experience that you've had with art, like growing up, and kind of how it's led you to what you're doing today?
Yeah. I've always been drawn to like the more artistic side of things. I'm definitely not so much like a mathematical thinker, but I think visually and artistically, and a big part of that growing up in San Gabriel and going to Washington Elementary School was able to be taught art and music, specifically by our teacher, Mr. Loya, who would come in every so often in a year and teach us different art projects. And I always was very, very engaged in that. And then also, um, towards the end of elementary school, we started music, which I really got into, and it taught me more about like the basics of music, like notes and stuff like that. Now I kind of forgot all of it, but it was very engaging then at the time. And growing up with that, it made me have a lot more of an artistic mindset. And it got me into being more confident in my art. So that's what leads to like me with singing. Like I've been singing since elementary school, but I never knew that I could sing. I just kind of sang anyways. And then it was around like fifth grade that I was more into it, doing it more often, blasting songs on the radio, singing a lot. Like all my parents would like be a little annoyed about how much I sang. Um, but that confidence was rooted from just like art in general, just teaching me that. And now I hopefully gotten better, and I have a singing account, that Voice of B that I'm on right now, that I created in seventh grade, I believe it was, just to post covers, showcase my voice, and it's something that I had seen other people doing on Instagram, so I kind of just did it. And now I have some feats through that account, just getting on different like compilation videos, having different like singing Instagram accounts follow me and stuff like that. And it's just something that I enjoy doing now. But like I wouldn't have ever found it if I didn't have that confidence to begin with. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely remember making packing peanut sculptures,
Yep.
and like wetting them with a sponge, and we would make like dragons and different things like that. Um, and then going into the end of elementary school, it was like fifth grade, I think, when we got to pick an instrument. Um, and we picked cello. We were cello twins. And
Yeah.
yeah, I thought it was so awesome that we had access to all these things. I mean, we obviously wanted more because we only got it like once a month, I think, for art, and then for music, I think it was every week.
Yes.
But it was so much fun. I remember like I'd be like, "Can I go sit on this class's art class because I really want to take it again?" And my teachers would be like, "No, you're supposed to stay here." But yeah, so do you want to tell us a little bit more about like what you're doing with singing, especially like at school and like the clubs that you're in?
Yeah. So In elementary school, I just kind of like would sing randomly. It wasn't structured. It was just something that I like to do. So it was more like a hobby. And then going into middle school, I just started singing more and more. I created my singing account. I found other people, one of my friends that like sing, and we would like sing together, things like that. And then in seventh grade, I was still in orchestra playing cello, and I tried out for choir because I thought, wait, I like singing. Like, I think I'm all right at it. Like, I should probably like try out for choir. And I actually didn't get in to the choir. So that was a weirdly a turning point moment because I faced rejection. That's important. But then also like it kind of gave me that attitude of like, well, you know what? I'm still gonna sing anyways, and like I'm gonna keep persevering forward. Um, then in freshman year, I joined this club at my school called Unplug, which is basically a music club where they have a bunch of instruments in the room. And if you're interested in music, singing, playing instruments, you can come in and just jam like during lunch. And so I found that really fun. I met so many cool people through there who were very talented, were great singers, great guitar players, piano players, and I grew through that program. So even though I wasn't in choir, I still progressed in my singing abilities and learning new instruments and learning new techniques, learning how to harmonize because I didn't know how to do that before. That's like a choir thing you learn, and I just like kind of figured it out through my friends, and just making a lot of connections and friendships through that. And now I do that, and basically what we do is we perform a whole set of songs at lunch to whoever's sitting in the quad area. So it's a little scary because like you're performing to people out there. Most people are outside, and you're singing into a mic in front of all those people. Some people are paying attention, most of them are not, but like you just do it anyways. And so that was also a big learning experience in confidence, in my ability to perform through stress, and to like sing for myself because not everyone was really, paying attention. So it's just more like for me. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's so good. It like I know facing rejection is like something that we never want to do. Like, oh, we're gonna get it right the first time.
Definitely.
But to hear and to see how you've grown from like middle school till now is like so awesome and so cool. But yeah, I also know that you do speech, and so that is also a form of art that I think, and I'm sure you agree. So do you want to talk a little bit about that and kind of like the skills that you've learned too?
Oh, sure. So yeah, I joined speech also my freshman year and have been doing it all 4 years. And it's definitely been a huge outlet for me because I do a lot of acting through that, and so it's definitely art. Like you're right on track. Like I get credit for it being an art class, so we're going with that. Um, and yeah, I've learned so many things through speech and debate. I've learned leadership skills, being able to work with different types of people, to collaborate and to help others improve, and then also them helping me improve at the same time, to persevere through not wanting to work, um, to through rejection, like you said, like not doing so well or not feeling confident in my speeches. Like I have to push through that through the entire year. I've learned so much from the people in speech also, just especially like the coaches, teaching me about life skills, communication, being able to articulate my ideas, which is very important in like uh, employment and working, which I think is very helpful. And then just like the friendships that I've made have been incredibly valuable, and I don't know where I would be in high school without speech, so I'm definitely grateful for speech. And I think that I've progressed as an actor, in terms of confidence, in terms of the ability to scrutinize my own performance and to improve it. Um, and yeah, it's been definitely a really fun experience. And even meeting people from other teams is really fun. And even though it's a competition, like it definitely doesn't feel that way. It feels more like just being able to do what I love.
Yeah, that's so good and such a good skill to have instead of like, who's gonna be the best here? It's really
Exactly.
it's fun. But I know we were talking about this earlier, and like we have been so fortunate to been um, helped and influenced by really amazing art teachers throughout our whole like careers and education. And we were talking about how there's a study that you're 5 times more likely to stay in school if you have an arts education.
Right.
And when I found that out, I was like, that's so crazy because the statistic in California is that 1 in 5 Black kids drop out of school every in their entire career. And just like the dropout rates, especially in LA County, where we are just so
Right.
astronomical. Like, how do we combat that issue?
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I remember you talking about like it made sense, like how we kind of like go through the day and we're like, okay, well, maybe speech is at the end of the day. And for me, like art is at the end of the day. So I'm like, okay, I'll make it through just to get to this one period.
Mm. Yeah, it's definitely like the arts are definitely motivational in education as well because of the fact that it's offered at school. Like if I think about it, if this was like an after school thing or like outside of school, like disconnected, like you have to pay for it, all those things, like I definitely wouldn't be like as engaged or have so much focus on my education as well because I would want to do it there. So like the fact that we are offered so many things in school definitely pushes me. Also, like the people within the arts are all usually striving towards excellence as well. So you kind of lift each other up. I definitely see like a lot of inspiration through people, especially in speech, who are like do really well in speech, but they're also very academically brilliant. Really, like they do amazing. They go off of these great colleges, and part of that is because of the things we learn through speech. And I think one thing that's really important about the arts in high school are those educators that are pushing the students to be more excellent, not only in the arts, but in all aspects of life, and especially education. And it's like those one-on-one relationships and those mentorships that last beyond high school that really push that one student that's struggling through and inspires them to keep going forward because of that art teacher and because of the arts and the different like skills that we learn through the arts. So
Yeah, and even how you were like we were talking before, and you were saying like, well, you can't be in the play if you have a D in this class
right.
or you're failing this class.
Right.
So it's like an extra, like I don't know, when we used to have those stickers in elementary school where you would get a sticker on your chart. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Get your sticker on your chart, your grades, in order to participate in
Yeah.
these artistic extracurriculars.
That's an extra push.
Yeah, yeah. I know, I totally agree. Like, even our arts teacher in elementary school, Mr. Loyal, like I'm definitely still in touch with him, and he helped me get into my high school, and he helped me with my portfolio. So like that definitely pushed me to pursue what I wanted to. So
and that's years after elementary school when he directly worked with us, which is really cool.
yeah. So I know we are both seniors in high school.
Yikes.
I know. And we're getting ready to think about college. So I was wondering, like, what do you see yourself doing in the future? Like, is music still involved? Are you taking like the skills that you're using that you've learned in music and in speech, and just like how it's influencing you going forward?
Definitely. I think in terms of speech, it's definitely going to help me in the networking aspect of college because college is supposed to we're paying for it in order to get something out of it. And just my communication skills and my confidence, I think, will take me far. And just like the ability to keep learning, which is also from speech. Being open, being humble to no, you know what? I don't know that much. I'm here to learn from you, so teach me. And I think that will take me far for sure, and I wouldn't have gotten that without speech. I think music is something that I've always wanted to pursue. And despite like I know the challenges of trying to go through the industry or to create something so vulnerable and just put it out there for people, even that basic idea of music can be a little daunting. But despite that fact, it's something that I enjoy, and I wouldn't have really thought about it if like musicians, the arts hadn't like inspired me to pursue those things and to have the confidence to pursue those things. Yeah, so I'm just really excited, or more excited for college and for the future because of like the things I've learned through the arts.
Yeah, and definitely will help us in the workforce. Woo! Because creativity is actually the skill that's most sought after by employers. Like they did like
Yep.
a survey, and they're like, "What do you want in an employee?" And they're like, "Creativity."
Right.
So we have that. Put that on the top of our resume. Artist,
Exactly.
creative.
Creative. Thinking out of the box.
Yeah, but I also think like it makes us more willing to try new things too.
For sure.
Like
Definitely.
if we were making these, you know, packing peanut sculptures, and then
Yeah.
there's some sculpture class in your future, and you're like, okay, did this in elementary school, like let's give it a try now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely exciting. It's definitely a new task, but
Definitely.
um, it's good to take like old skills and apply them into this new world.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, and so I just wanted to touch on the fact that I think we both use art as kind of like a healing mechanism, like a way to like process the things that are going on around us. So I don't know if you wanted to touch on that.
Oh yeah. Music has been such a huge therapeutic aspect of my life. I don't know where I would be without it, just because of the fact that I've worked through so many challenges and emotions through music, whether that's listening to music in order to let out my emotions and accept what I'm feeling, or whether that's through like performing music, like whatever I'm feeling, being able to sing it out is so healing, because it's instead of, coping and keeping those emotions inside and locked away, and able to literally let them out and express them. And that's the first step to healing. So like it's really easy to do it through something I love, like being able to sing like, hey, you know what, I'm sad, and like Sam Smith's music or something. Like it just helps to uh, open like all those locked doors within you, and it helps you to identify emotions too, which is very difficult. Like when you're feeling so much, you're like, I don't know why I'm feeling this, I don't know what I'm feeling, I'm just don't feel good, I feel sad, I feel frustrated. And you're able to identify what and why you're feeling, and it helps the mind process what you're going through, and being able to move forward, and being able to, like you said, heal.
Yeah, no, definitely. Art is definitely like a socio-emotional like processing tool. Like we have art therapy and things like that. Um, I remember going into the counselor's office in elementary school, and she's like, draw a picture of how you're feeling. And I was like, what? But then now I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I guess I get it. Um, but no, definitely, it's a healing tool. Like you said, it helps you like identify what are the exact emotions that I'm feeling, and how can I, you know, move forward from there.
Definitely.
But yeah, so in California, it's actually mandated that all students in grades 8 through 12 in public school have access to all 5 areas of art. So that's like visual arts, dance, music, theater, and media arts, which is like cinematic arts and design. But only 12% of schools meet that mandate. So, what do you think are the things that we can do, either as students, as communities, as artists, to kind of move forward and kind of create this culture shift into realizing like, yeah, the arts are important and they help us in all these different ways.
Yeah. I think it's definitely starts with a culture. Like there's a stigma over the arts already, that, they're for weird kids, or it's like not that interesting, or not as interesting as, for example, like sports and things like that. And because I know, like in my school in particular, um, no one really like looks at speech and is like, wow, look how amazing they are. Like those are like great people. That sounds really fun. I want to do it. You know what I mean? Like apart from those on our team. And I know like same, except with the exception of like orchestra and band, because those are such huge, programs in our school, and they're uh, a lot of people at our school strive for that musical excellence in those departments. But other than that, like taking art classes is more like to fulfill an extracurricular, credit, versus like actually loving it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that stigma definitely like hurts the art community and hurts the arts at our school in particular. And I know other schools also. Like I think of like Glee, like the show, and like they're like slushing it all the time, like not the musical. But it's true, like those stigmas do exist, whether at a less extreme, way. And then besides just like the culture of like how students see the arts, I think it's definitely just an issue with like funding, and like a lot of schools prioritize sports or facilities over the arts. But I think one way that like we can contribute to the bettering of our community and to help as students is definitely to utilize our ability to make clubs.
Mm-hmm.
I think if choir was the only option for singing, a lot less people would be involved. I know a lot of people in Unplugged who like play instruments, who sing, are people who are still discovering themselves. So if it was like a you get in, you don't get in format, then a lot of them maybe wouldn't or would be too scared to try out. So like Unplugged is just this community of being able to just come in and play music if you want. You can perform if you want. You can get better. And I feel like that's really valuable. I think, for example, like cinematic arts and dance aren't things that like my school offers as like a class, but being able to have those clubs and to find other people in the school who also, you know, have a passion for that and grow that is definitely very valuable in fulfilling like those things that we're lacking. And I think we could even, you know, use our voices as students and speak up for uh, like for each other, and like for the fact that like we don't have these art programs. So we want like to initiate that change with those in power, those people above us, and like being able, and it doesn't always work, you know, like I've tried to speak up about different things in our school. Doesn't mean I am listened to, but it's the effort, and think just like coming together as a community of students and wanting to better ourselves and better our school as a student body is powerful and more effective than we think possible. So it's better to do that than to do nothing.
Yeah, for sure. And like you're saying, like reaching out to our school board members, like using our voice, or maybe it's even like our principals, and we're like, hey, this group of students that we formed a dance club, and we're super interested in getting a dance class or something like that to fulfill our A through G requirements, or to
Right.
look for, you know, how can we work together? Like, do we need to reach out to local businesses and ask for donations of, like, I don't know, yoga mats, like to do stretches on, or whatever it ends up being. But we definitely have power as students, and there's always, like how they say, it's strength in numbers.
Right.
When a lot of us are interested in something and we really are persistent, it's kind of hard to ignore versus like one person
Definitely.
trying to ask. And the same thing, I think it's like so beautiful. Like your club is so awesome because you can just come in and learn and like
Exactly.
teach each other. Like you're like, I learned how to harmonize, and somebody
Yeah.
else knows how to play guitar and can back me up when I perform. So also creating those spaces of like, you can learn. Like it's not just like, here's art class and you have to recreate this painting and it has to be perfect for an A.
Right.
Like creating those spaces where we can exchange knowledge to each other. And who knows, maybe a freshman's going to come in this year into your Unplugged club and be like, Bianca, I've seen your singing videos. Can you teach me how to do this? And you'll be like, yeah. So creating those spaces are so important.
Definitely.
Yeah, and taking down that stigma of the starving artist too, or like the arts are not essential. No, they're essential. They're
Yeah,
super.
they are. They literally help you pass like high school.
Yeah, literally. And I don't know, I remember being like, I want to go to art school and I'm going to be an artist. And my uncle, or my great uncle, he was like, you can live on Venice and draw people's caricatures. And he was like, that's how you'll make your living, living on Venice. And I was like, no, this is like the stigma that we kind of need to like dismantle.
Exactly. Like the hobby, like the street performer, entertainer type vibe.
Yeah, not that that isn't
Weirdo
like,
on the street.
yeah, not that that isn't like valid. Like street performers and like street
Right.
artists are so awesome, but like there are so many different careers that we can go into, and even if we don't end up going into them, we take these skills that we've learned that are so valuable. Yeah.
For sure.
So I guess if there was one thing that you had to say to a young artist maybe watching, or somebody who wants to get involved or inspired to pursue the arts, what would you say?
I would say if you have the desire, if you have the interest, if you feel like you have that spark of potential, then work towards gaining the confidence to actually pursuing it, to joining a program, to meeting up with other types of artists and whatever art you do, whether that's dance, visual art, singing, whatever it is. The arts is a huge world that I think is incredible. But yeah, just do it. Like, this is your sign. If you're waiting for a sign, do it. Whatever you're trying to achieve, whether that's to put your art out there, whether that's to pursue singing or to pursue dancing or musical theater, like, no dream is too big, because if you don't even try, you're going to regret it. And that's where I'm at right now. It's like I need to push myself to just start and pursue what I really want in the back of my mind, and stop letting the stigmas of the world against art like push me away from that. Like, no, you should focus more on what's more reliable, or like go with something like becoming a lawyer or becoming whatever. Like, if you have the interest, if you have the skill, if you want to gain the skill, just go after it, and don't let yourself or society kind of hold you back from that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Well, thank you so much, Bianca, for coming
Of
on
course.
and speaking with me. It's so good to see you, even though we live down the street from each other.
Right.
So, yeah, I'll wait from my window, you wait from yours. But yes, and to everybody watching, thank you for spending a little bit of your Thursday night with us. Create CA is raising awareness about the issue, and we need people to join our campaign so that when there are opportunities to take action, we can alert you. So you can sign our pledge at createca.org, and you can also sign up for our mailing list. But thank you so much again. It was so awesome to spend
Of course.
with you.
Yeah,
And
this
talk
was
with
fun.
you. But thank you, everybody. Hope you have a great night. Bye.
Bye.